Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. And today, installment number 3 of building a set of leather suspenders. And today, I've made a few changes in my mind since the last video. I'll go through those with you. If you haven't seen the previous 2 videos, go check them out. Again, an overview. This is the first time I've built a set of leather suspenders. So I've just kind of done this in my mind as I went along, and I've made some changes. I changed my mind a couple of times on what I want to do and how I want to do it, but I think it's going to turn out okay. So come on in and let's get started. Alright, so on the last video I was talking about, I cut 6 of these 3.5 inch straps, and I wanted to use these rings, these rectangled silver rings, just to add some silver to it, other than just the ends that snap on the pants and the silver rivets. But I've been running that through my mind, and I did dye the back patch. I dyed it a little bit darker than the rest of the leather, just to give a little contrast. But if I've been running this through my mind, if I put that in there like so and put that ring in there, and I can put it up here like this, and put my rivet in there, then when I put my long strap on there, yeah, you're going to see the edge of the ring. But what that does is that's going to make that kind of bulky right there. So the only reason I was doing that was to give this a little bit of silver for that ring. Well, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to use that there. So I'm taking that out of the equation at this point. I was going to use these silver buckles that I showed you in the last video. If you didn't see that one, go check it out. I'm going to use these slide type buckles instead. I think it's going to be sharper, cleaner. I don't have to use any holes, punch any holes for a buckle like this. And if you recall in that last video, everything is 1 inch inside. Measured from inside to inside is 1 inch. These buckles are supposed to be 1 inch buckles, and they measure 1 inch from outside to outside. So what that does is that makes that really tight, and it's much nicer to use this one, and it's going to look sharper. So I've played around with it. I'll use those rings if I need to extend something. We'll see how that works out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 12 inch strap that goes in the back. I want to see, I'm going to put it on the bottom slot of my back patch. And again, when I dyed this, it shrunk up just those slots just a little bit. So I can pull that through with a pair of needle nose. Be very careful. But without using those rings like I was going to, now I'm going to have a cleaner look and not so much bulk. So that's the look that I would have if I do it like so. I don't want to do it like this because that's going to leave the raw side of the leather. I want the finished side of the leather. So I'll pull it through like this and do the rivets like so. So let's go ahead and get a setter out. Let's double check, see what length of rivet we're going to need for 2 thicknesses of this. We'll try 3/16. I don't think that's quite going to do it. Let's go to a 5/16. And that looks like that's going to be about perfect. So that's what size we'll use. Put that on the setter. Find us a cap. Set that rivet. You can see how nice that silver looks against that. So that's going to be that back strap that goes down. This end will go down toward the pants in the back. Then I'll take the 2 longer straps and they'll go in the top slots so that they'll go over the shoulders. Again, I'll just grab that to pull that through. That is a snug fit, but I want that a snug fit. And grab us another rivet. Put that on the anvil. Grab another cap. My setter. And there's the next one. So this one goes down toward the back of the pants. This is the one that goes over the right shoulder. Then we'll need to take the last one, and this will go over the left shoulder. Same thing, take another rivet. This is just going to make it, instead of using those rings, which all it was for decoration anyway, it wasn't for anything structural, it was just for looks. But this is going to make it much less bulky, smoother. So there's the top, the left and the right strap coming off my back patch, and then the bottom coming down. Now what I'm going to need to do is double check on the back, and I'm just throwing it on here, pulling these down over the front, and then checking the back to see how far that's going to hang down. And it feels like if I added maybe one of these straps, then it's going to be plenty long enough. So well, what I can do now is use one of those rings that I wanted to use. Let's put one of those on. And if I look and see, I may have to put this ring on and then see if I need a longer, I'm probably going to need a longer piece than 3 inches. So let's go ahead, and I know I want to put that on there. So let's go ahead and put a rivet in there and set that. That's going to give me a little decoration in the back that I was looking for. Plus the clamp that goes on the pants is silver. So there's one of those rings that I can use. And then I need to put my clamp that clamps onto my pants. I need to put that on there. Now, I want to go ahead and see. I'll have to put this on again. A lot of dry fitting because I don't have an exact pattern length to go by. So I am going to have another length on there approximately that wide. And again, I don't have anybody here to help me. So approximately 4 inches is what I'm looking for. So I can cut myself another piece, another strap that will come out 4 inches. Let's go ahead and cut another piece quickly here. Let's see if I can end up with 4 inches. After I put my rounded ends on, and I'm going to mark where I want my rivets. So I can punch my rivet holes. Now let's see what we end up with. Looks like it'd be about right there. And that's gonna be about 6.5 inches, and we wanted 4 inches. So we're gonna have to take 2.5 inches off of the length of this. So let's take 2.5 inches off, mark it, make our rounded end. Take one of these 3.5 inch pieces, use it as a pattern so I know where to put my holes. find my 1/8 inch punch that I've laid down. There it is. Then I can go ahead and rivet this together. If I can get it in the hole there. Put it on my anvil, grab another cap, my setter, then I'm going to take my piece that snaps or clamps onto my pants, and those are pretty stiff. We'll take it, put it on this end, and rivet it. So I think I'm going to have enough with the rivets and everything. I'm going to have enough hardware or silver on here to set that off a little bit. So there's what that ends up looking like. So I've got a little bit of that decorative that I wanted, but it looks nice. It's not overlapping. It's nice and neat. And then it comes down to the rear clamp. Now I am going to dry fit that one more time. Put that around my shoulders and double check it in the back. And it feels perfect. Again, I don't have anybody out here helping me. If I had somebody to say, yeah, that looks great, that would help. But on this, on the front, let me kind of turn this around a little bit. I'm going to have to get away a little bit. There we go. On the front, you can see if I had this clamped in the back on my pants, you can see how far these come down. Well, I've got some straps that I cut and I cut these after the last video, and I want to clamp or attach my clamps to the front. Then I can decide how long these need to be for the buckles that I'm going to use. So the first thing I need to do, and I'll put you back up here, the first thing I need to do is get my clamps for the front that hook onto the pants and put that on. Again, I'm riveting those on with 5/16 rivets, and that's going to be determined by how thick your leather is. Again, this is one of those things, I don't have any directions, I don't have anything to go by other than what I've got in my mind here. Let's go to the second one. Those are the same length. So I'll put that on, put a cap on, and rivet that. So there's my two straps with the clamps that hook onto the pants in the front. Now I got to figure out how I want these to attach. I want to use these buckles, and I need to figure out which one goes where. Does it go in the bottom first, which I believe it will, then attach from the top? So then I'll slide in the top. And I think what I'll do is, let me attach one of these, and I just have sweatpants on, but I'll attach one of those to my pants. See if I can show you. So I've got one of those attached in the front on this side, and I don't want that any shorter than that. That comes up to about the chest, bottom of my chest level, and then I can put that through that buckle. Let's see how this works. Leave about 1.5 inches hanging out. 1.5 inches right at it, 1.5 inches. Then we can take the top one and go back through the opposite direction here, if I can get that turned right. And the idea of that is that it would go through there fairly stiff or tight, and then I can push that slide of that buckle back and then thread the other side through, like so. So that's a nice look. I like the silver. Definitely not going to slide. I'm going to go ahead and try to hook the back onto the back of my pants. Again, it would help if I had a helper to do this for me, but I don't. So give me a second here. Alright, I got it. So I've got that clamped on there, and that gives me an idea how tight they're going to be. And again, this is adjustable. And then this one lays down the front. So it lays way down. Let me get you back where we can see it. It lays way down here to where it attaches to my pants. So that's too long. I just want it probably no longer than, I would say, 2 inches below the buckle. So I'm going to mark that at 2 inches now that I know I have that where I want it. And I'm just going to put a faint mark on there with my stylus. And then I'm going to do the other side. And I want them to be the same. I want them to look symmetrical. So I'll clamp that side on. And then I'll do the same. I'll grab another slide buckle here. I want to go up from the bottom first. I had approximately 1.5 inches sticking through there, right here. Then I'll fold that back down, push that buckle up because that center slides. I can put that in there. Then I can put the top back in here. Once you have these in and you have them adjusted, then you could make minute adjustments. You can see now they're pretty even on both sides right here, and that's what I want. I want them to look even. I can adjust those a little at a time if I need to, either side really. So I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll mark it. I marked this one about 2 1/8 from the buckle. I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'll take my stylus, make a small mark, then I'll know where to round those off, where it's just leaving 2 inches, 2 1/8 inches hanging down. I'm going to go ahead and cut these while I have them on, so I don't have to take them back off. And I can just lean over and put it on my poly board and go ahead and cut those. Alright, so those look so much better with just 2 inches hanging down now, and they're adjusted. They're adjusted in the back. Again, I do have sweatpants on, so I can tuck this t-shirt in real quick so you can see how it turned out. And if you want to adjust these, all you have to do is pull down on that center bar, pull that down, and then hold it and pull the strap through, and you can push down on that. And I'm sure you've had different things, straps that had buckles on it like this, and you could tighten that down by pulling that through, and then you just pull the other side down, and then I just keep these even on both sides, and that tightens it up. So let me pan out, zoom out, and show you what we ended up with here. Alright, so finally got these put together. You can see how they attach. I used the slide buckles. I left 2 1/4 inches hanging here, and then you can see the back, how the back patch supports everything. So they turned out nice. They're comfortable. I think it's because I used the softer leather. It's probably about 8 or 9 ounce leather, but it is softer. than the thick veg tan that I used on the back patch. So they turned out good. So I'm happy with them. Again, first time I've tried it. I think it worked out great. I'll probably make another set of them for somebody. So I'm sure when somebody sees these, they'll want a set. I got a couple of buddies that wear suspenders all the time, so that'll work out great. So I appreciate you coming along. Appreciate you following this whole 3-part series. It just was a big undertaking for me to do this for the first time. So that's why I had to divide it up into 3 parts, or the video would have been super long. So I appreciate you following along. Appreciate you watching. And like I always say, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.